Okay everyone, just a short video just to give you an idea of how we start and how we get going with our infographics. You've seen this before hopefully because it's on my Pinterest board, it's in the infographic board and it's a nice one because it just gives you an idea of how some of those examples of infographics get laid out. We looked at these different versions very briefly on last Wednesday, and I think you've looked at them with Effie as well. But what we're looking at is how we can actually start our infographics now and take some of our research and some of our findings and start getting it on the page. Now I'm going to show you two ways to start, and either is fine. It's up to you what way you want to go, and then you'll be able to start picking out the information and start changing that into a visual representation. So if you've got numbers, or if you've got an idea of how something works, or how you set up a graphic design company, start thinking about how that looks in a visual format. Okay, I think that these three down the bottom of this image are probably the best ones to think about starting with. I've attached this to your emails as well today so that you've got it nice and easy to access. But the roadmap and the timeline are quite similar, and we were talking before about the procedures of a graphic design company and how it goes from pitch to product and that kind of thing. So these would work quite nicely, and you can follow almost that timeline as you talk about different things that you need to think about when you're setting up your own company. The visualized article again works quite well because it doesn't necessarily follow too much. You can drop in a bit of number work, you can drop in a comparison, it's up to you. So this one is a bit freer, whereas these will kind of be nice if you start from the beginning and then work your way through how you set up a design company and the different things that kind of filter into that. So it's up to you, but I would definitely focus on one of these three, and that's what we'll look at in a moment. I'll probably look at the timeline in terms of setting up what we're going to do, but I'll come on to that in a minute. All right, so I said two ways of setting it up. We are looking at trying to use more Illustrator skills in this task. We've looked at tracing, we've looked at 3D blocks and different bits and pieces, and if you've got any ideas that you want to do, then just ask, and I'll try and find a way of doing it and showing it to you. But we'll start with those skills to begin with. So if you wanted to build your infographic in Illustrator, so you carry on those skills all the way through this project, that's fine. Open it up, go to File and New, and you'll get this window come up. And all you need to do, I think it'd be nice if we work to a long and thin design, and by that we'll stack two A4 pages on top of each other. So all we need to do is just change the height, and we'll customize our page size. So 2 times an A4 in length without changing the width is 594. So you want to change your height to 594 millimeters, that is. Okay, make sure it's portrait, and then OK that, and you'll get this come up. Now what I would do before you do anything is make sure that you've got your rulers. So you want to go to View, Rulers, and then just Show Rulers. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that graphic of the different templates into my thing. No, I'm not, because I can't find it. Okay, I'll refer back to it. You guys can stick it in your Apple Cart, and then you can drop it in whenever you're ready, just so you've got something to reference to. I'm going to flick in between it as we go. So, like I was saying, you can put it in this Illustrator, and then you can design it, and then you can do your traces, and you can do your drawings with your pen tool, all in here, and have it all central in one document. If you want to do that, that's fine. If you want to use InDesign as a layout package, so you do your designs in Illustrator and you do lots of little ones and keep them stored nicely in a folder, and then drop them into InDesign because you're happier laying things out in InDesign, it's absolutely fine. Do exactly the same. File and New, and then go to your height. Again, change it to 594. Make sure it's in orientation view. A544. Okay, that. And it will chuck a little bit because my machine is probably a little bit slower than your ones. And then again, you've got the same layout this time. So it's up to you how you lay it out. But we are looking for good use of Illustrator within this project. If that means you do lots of little things in Illustrator and drop it into InDesign, fine. If it means you create it all in Illustrator so that you're kind of forced a bit more to use Illustrator as you go through, then that's fine as well. Okay, it's up to you. So look at one of these, and I'm just going to see if I can copy this. Look at one of these and try and focus on one of the bottoms. I'll look at this middle one, this timeline one, and just give us an idea. Oh, there we go, good. All right, so what we're looking is trying just to get some rules and some guides into place so that we can see how it's going to look and how it's going to work. So for instance, this middle one, I know I've got to split it right down the middle. So I'm going to create 2 columns in here. I'm going to make that nice and easy. I'm in InDesign at the moment, so I'm going to go to Layout, Margins and Columns, 2 columns, and OK that. And then I've got that central line. I know it's dead center and it's in there. If I was doing that in Illustrator, jump across. It's nice and easy on my screen because my Illustrator is dark and my InDesign is a bit lighter, so you'll know what one I'm in. I'm just going to see if I can place that image in here. Yes, okay, good. All right, so this one, where we've got our rulers in, it's a little bit different because rulers you can pick up and move when you're in Illustrator. It gives you a bit more control over them. So I'm just going to go to my layers, and on this one, I'm just going to call it guides. And then any guides that we put in place, we're going to put on this layer. And then any work that we want to do, I would say let's do it on another layer and get used to working in layers that way. So the width of our page is 210 because it's just an A4 page width. So we just want to drag this in and get it snap bang in the middle at 105. Where are we? There we go. Drop that in there. Okay, so that's our middle in there, and we can just see whether it is or not. No, 104.6, not too bad, that'll do us. Okay, and then likewise, if we look at this design, we can start thinking, okay, where else am I going to need guides? So we could drag one from the top, and let's bring it down to about, let's say, what are we, 150 there? Yeah, 150 on the y-axis. So this section now we can see is going to be our heading section here. All right, and then we might say, okay, so I need to have 1, 2, 3, 4 bits of information. So we then might break this area up into 4. Okay, and this is where you might just need to do a little bit of maths and get your calculator out, or use your brain if you're cleverer than me, and start thinking, okay, well that's going to be, I'm going to do this by eye, so apologies if it's completely wrong. That's going to be about halfway, and then I need to splice that into, and then once more. Splice that into. Okay, that's fairly equal. It's not exactly on, but it gives us an idea. Okay, and if you were in InDesign, you would do exactly the same. All right, so we might bring a guide down to here. What did I say before? Can't remember now. A bit more than that, wasn't it? I think it was 150. So that's our first section, and then we might bring a guide down here and do that about halfway, and so on and so forth. And the reason we're just kind of using our guides and getting our rulers in, it just means that we're not working on a white page straight away. And just allows us to think, okay, well, I've got this section of information that needs to go in here, and this in there, and so on and so forth. And it just allows you to organise yourself a little bit more. So please make sure you map out your guide and your template before you start throwing all manner of information in there. It doesn't need to be the final kind of positioning of everything, but just so you've got an idea of where it's going to go. All right. And then if we were doing a timeline, I would think, okay, I need a nice thick line down the middle. So choose my line tool, hold down shift so we keep it nice and straight, and then change my properties up on it. I'm going to make it nice and thick. So what's that? Let's go to 20. So I know that it's kind of nice and thick, and I can see it when I'm working on it. And then you might think, okay, I need those 4 blobs. They're going to go in the middle. So again, change into your shape tool, find a nice circle, hold down shift. You'll need to colour it over here. Alright, just like you would picking up the palettes in Photoshop or in Illustrator. Okay, and then just start adding them in, copy and paste a couple so that we get them in the right positions. Alright, and there we can see if we we can start seeing the beginnings of our timeline. So it looks a bit odd when I go to presentation mode because it's so long and thin. But you start seeing where everything's going to go. We know that we're going to have a section off of here or a section off of here, so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm not going to outline everything. You've got it there on the image that I've sent you. If we were doing this in Illustrator, we'll just jump back. Again, you've got your line tool here, exactly the same as InDesign. I'm just going to draw it in the middle here. Sorry, it's not in the right position. And then you would make sure that that's a certain colour, and then you can go into here. What did I make it before? 20, I think. All right. So that's in there. Again, you've got your ellipse tool or your circle tool so that you can make your circles. Click that and it will become the right size. All right, and so on and so forth. Then you're down to what any artistic spin, whatever feel you're going to put onto it. Guys, check back in my Pinterest links as well, because there is an infographic about colours that work well and colours that don't work well within infographics as well. Have a look for that, and that will help you out as you go. And then think about all of the research you've done about setting up a graphic design company and what it takes and what it entails, and start putting it in. One last thing before I start the video. Once you've got your layout, you can then start thinking about the information that's going to put in. And just very quickly, what that might look like, you might think, okay, what software am I going to show? I want to show the Adobe software, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. I've literally just Googled Adobe icons and clicked on images, and we've got all of these. What I'd like you to do is create your own Illustrator versions of these. I've shown you how to trace images, so you can really quickly drop these into Illustrator, live trace, then you've got your own version that you can colorize and you can change however you want to, rather than just relying on a bitmap image. I've done the same for office icons, so if you were looking at comparing cheaper software with more expensive software that you can use, that's in there, and you've got some other icons in there as well that you can kind of play around with. And then I just did graphic design icons. This is the last one. So if you're looking at kind of a pair of scissors or a pencil like this on this one, just to highlight something or to kind of signify something in your design, then you can use these. What I would say is that all of these would need to be changed into a vector. Right? Don't just drop a bitmap image in. Right? Get your Illustrator skills up. The more you can learn in Illustrator and practice within that, the better your skill set will be as you go forward in this course and beyond. All right. So today is all about setting up our layouts and going through those and getting them ready. Remember what I said, if you use Illustrator, I would just put your guides all on one layer, because what you can do is you can just lock it then, and then none of these guides will work when you put a new layer in and start working on that one instead of the one that all your guides are on. Okay, I forgot to just go over that again.